Whatever. All right. What's up, everybody? It's this number 6 of the Odd Pod. Coming at you with Cannabis Chris and Romo, and the strain of the day is wedding cake. One time the last time when we did pink cookies, I said AKA birthday cake. I meant to say wedding cake, and that's what this is. Wedding cookie. Wow, shit. Wedding cake, AKA pink cookies.
There you go.
Yeah. I think you say you wanted to start something off, right? You want to talk about?
Yeah, it's an experience I've been witnessing with my own little nephew, and that is the way he's able to get socially awkward kids. You know, those kids that have a hard time just being able to socialize with other kids. I've been noticing how he's been able to uh, get them out of their shell and being able to, get them to play, be more social with people and stuff like that. And it's pretty amazing to see the power of what one kid can do to another. And it's kind of like maybe this is what we need for a lot of these kids, just to kind of get them all to realize that, hey, man, if we unify, we'll all be all right. Maybe a lot of these kids won't grow up with anxiety or social awkwardness and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it helps too. Like when the adults, like sometimes I feel like, and I don't always feel like it, but when I do, when I'm in the mood and I see somebody kind of in their shell or something, I try to like joke around with them, try to get them to open up a little bit, be themselves, and I think it works, man. Sometimes cause I'm the type of person who'll talk to different types of people, whether it be at school or at work. I don't care if they're like an older person or younger person. I'll find something to talk about if I'm in the mood. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm tired of shit. But they understand that I work at elementary school or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I think that definitely that's really awesome, man, about your nephew. I think you probably had a huge part in that, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing I told them. Just if you see somebody being, in a bad mood, maybe sometimes go up and ask them, hey, you good, bro? If they answer you back, mad, and just, hey, just look at them and say, hey, it's all good, bro. Leave it be. But sometimes that's what a lot of people need is just sometimes just asking of somebody asking you, are you all right? Are you good? What's up? I know you're mad, but what's up, bro?
And I think even if they say like, "No, I'm straight," and you can tell they're not straight, you could be like, "Well, if you do need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you."
Yeah.
And I don't judge. I ain't no snitch. I ain't no, loose lips motherfucker. So I got you. If you need to just tell somebody, you need to tell me where you buried the body or some shit. You need somebody to throw that shit in the trunk. I got you, Romo. I was fucking.
I feel you, bro. Appreciate that. But
Yeah.
I think it's what a lot of people that need. And I understand there are a lot of fake people in this world that just wanna just talk it up and then wanna just get information from you and and this and that. But
I think that's because of like social media
yeah,
and like TMZ and these paparazzi and also the news. The news talks about a lot of celebrity bullshit. Like the local news is kind of like TMZ light in a way. They'll talk about some real shit, very skewed,
very
opinionated, biased, and all that
Yeah.
shit. But then they'll do a whole bunch of shit about some fucking relationships. Jennifer Aniston, like, man, fuck these motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck about Jennifer Aniston and all this shit. I mean, she's a cool actress and I love Friends.
Yeah.
But that's not news.
Oh yeah. And it's like with me personally, I have a hard time unless I really know you and I've kicked it with you and have chilled with you. I have a hard time, telling people, what's up with me. Only my closest homies, like, you, Vino, Ed, my other one boys.
You don't want to open up to everybody.
Yeah.
You got to know somebody really well before you.
Even when it's somebody who doesn't know me that well, who haven't kicked it with me, they'll come up to me saying, hey, bro, you good? To me, it makes me feel a little better that whatever's bothering me, whether I'm just mad at something that I've done or whatever, it makes you feel a little bit better knowing that, what, it is because why do I feel this way? It makes you kind of jump back to reality instead of being in your own little world and your own little mood. It's kind of like somebody else just comes in and brings you back to reality saying, hey, bro, you all right, bro? You ain't got to tell them what's wrong, but it helps to me. It helped me get back to reality. It helped me get back to
just to know that somebody else is caring about you.
Yeah, it lets me know I'm not alone in my own little world. There's other people around me that can help me, even if it's just them asking, "Hey, you good, bro?" You ain't gotta tell them everything. But just be like, man, there's little things that are bothering me, bro, but I'll be all right, bro. I appreciate you showing that you care, bro. And to me, asking somebody will go a long way, because I've asked somebody, and some people have dumped everything on me. They just need that one voice to talk to, and
for sure.
But sometimes they'll just tell me, nah, bro, they'll look at me for a second and they'll just be like, nah, I'm good. And then later on, maybe a week or so, like, hey, when you ask me if I was all right, I'll tell you what's up. Sometimes it takes people a couple of days for them to kind of break that wall down and whatnot. But at least you took the initiative to be like, hey, you all right? Because to me, I think that's part of God's work, is being there for each other. When especially if something's bothering us, because it keeps us from doing something stupid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Shit, I was gonna say something.
I know the social media don't fucking help.
Sometimes it don't. In some ways it can.
Depending on what you're looking at, I feel you.
Yeah. It's just like almost anything. There's positivity and negativity, from the simplest thing to the most complicated thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that social anxiety, man, that's a big thing right now.
Yeah.
And I had it too, and I'm not completely cured of it myself, but try to medicate myself and do what I can and pray and just do my best, and realize whenever I need a break, I need to take that break, because I don't want to come off as an asshole. But when I am, it's like, it's not personal. It's just I'm tired, or I'm hungry, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. And when we were talking about yesterday about our favorite rappers, and I had brought up the subject of these young rappers, you could listen to them right now. You can listen to
like how they're crying out for help.
That's just how they're crying out for help. But it's like Juice WRLD. His music, if you listen to his lyrics, it's not only warning, like telling you what's going on with him, but he's warning you, maybe warning the younger generation, like, hey, bro, like, this is what it is, dog. Like, you want to. In his song, The Legend, he talks about it, where you want all these legends, they'll all die young. So I feel like I'm just going to die young too, just like all the rest of them.
You think because he wants to be a legend?
I think he's just wanting for you to be a legend in this industry or whatever. Sometimes if you follow the wrong path, it'll end up killing you real young, because you want to live fast. And I mean, we've seen it with a lot of different celebrities like that. They want to live these lavish lifestyles, live fast, and then by the time they get to 24, they're either fucking hooked on something or they're already dead.
Well, that's why I was upset. Like, I wasn't upset, but I feel like I really don't like Rick Ross, the rapper, because he took the persona of a real person named Ricky Ross, and he didn't want to pay him his rights, and then the court said, oh, he don't have to, and this and that. So fuck Rick Ross. Anyway, I know he's kind of talented or whatever, but he had a song or a movement or an album or some shit called Live Fast, Die Young. And it's just like, that type of shit, that type of mentality is some bullshit. But, what's weird is he's probably not living like that. Most of these rappers, the way that they're, maybe these young rappers are, but a lot of the rappers are in the industry, they've been in the industry for a while. They talk and they rap about a lifestyle that they don't live. Yeah. Because they don't want to, because they're smarter than that. And it's just for publicity. And it's some shit that I feel like that the system, that's what they want. So people that are listening to it start living like that. And then you got, high crime rate because back in the day when rap would talk about drugs and shit, it kind of showed the negative side of it, of flipping drugs and this and that. And now it's more showing like a positive, more about taking drugs, more about, taking prescription drugs and all this shit. And that's not good. But what's crazy is whenever certain rappers like Notorious B.I.G., for example, he had a song called You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. And it's a dope ass song, but it's creepy how it foretold his future. And Tupac would always talk about dying, and they used to say, like, if you talk about death enough, death will come. Like, it's almost like you can manifest these things. And a lot of times when you do music is very powerful, and you can change emotion. You can change people's emotions. You can change people's lives with music. Yeah, it's almost like like witchcraft in a way, and you can use it for evil or good.
Yeah, you could speak anything into existence. Like, it's fucking crazy. And to back you on that story, man, when you speak it, eventually it will happen. I think you've heard that quote somewhere before.
Yeah.
So, and with him saying that, you look at all these young guys that have died. A lot of their names got blown up since they've died.
Like that Triple X.
That Triple Extension, Little Peep, and now Juice WRLD.
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller.
Oh, did Juice WRLD die or something? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he died. Well, he died in a very kind of young way.
What do you mean?
Well, he talks about this in one of his songs where he got stopped at an airport and they were gonna search his private jet. Well, he had guns and he had a lot of drugs in there. Well, he decided to eat all his Xans and shit.
What the fuck?
And it hit his stomach, and once it hit his stomach, man, that was it. He collapsed.
Died.
He fell into cardiac arrest, and that was it. Now, some people do say he may have faked his own death because he was getting sued by, I think it was Yellow Card.
For what's crazy is I'm 30 years old. I don't know who Yellow Card is. I don't know who Juice WRLD is. I don't know who Lil Peep is. I had heard of Mac Miller before he died. I'm still stuck on like the early 2000s, 90s. Like I can't. I mean, except for like if it's like Joyner, if they're like lyrical, I can fuck with them, bro. Like Joyner Lucas, I can fuck with some Kendrick, some Cole. But I don't think that cat would fake his death. He's just like he was.
Yeah, I really do feel because he did brag about it. Because he did it before and he was able to get away with it. He sang it in the song. That's why I believe it.
By actually like pretending that he killed himself?
No,
that he died?
Like he actually ate the drugs. I guess he puked them back out later.
So he probably thought.
I think that's what it was. Because he got fucked up and he wrote a song about being that fucked up on it.
How many do you think he swallowed?
I don't know. I can't be honest with you, bro. Because an addict like that.
That's not like, because it's different. Like if you got edibles. And you just gotta eat them hoes. You know what I mean? Or if you got ass.
You gonna sleep.
And you gotta eat all the ass. You're gonna trip balls. You might not die. It's gonna hit you in a different way. You might die. But it's not gonna kill you like the way that the Xanax is poison.
Yeah, I do feel you on that.
That shit is bananas.
Yeah.
Like a big one.
You can.
Yeah. That shit crazy, bro. Hey, so I wanted to bring up something about that I was learning about yesterday a little bit about John D Rockefeller and the oil. You know,
that's not. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Let's say that for another day.
All right.
Yeah.
What if I just use? Okay, all right. It just blew my mind, bro. Just certain things about his story. I guess if people wanna check that shit out.
It's crazy. If you want to check out who he is, check out who he is. There's a lot of shit on his ass, but we're gonna have a special episode for all these people one day. It's just
I know, bro. If we do it all one time, then what if we die tomorrow and we don't get a chance to talk about it? Let me just talk about this. Fuck it, bro. I don't give a shit. It's my house. Excuse me. Just the fact that the influence of the whole thing about oil, fuel, yeah, I mean, just the fact that he, after his monopoly, whenever his monopoly was broken up, it was better for him.
Yeah,
he got more money. And what I learned was about prohibition, because Henry Ford was a big proponent for using alcohol to fuel cars, or for fuel. Because he said, with anything you can ferment, you can make fuel with that motherfucker. That's how vegetables, everything, bro. And so luckily, I guess America was having a problem with alcohol at the time, drinking and shit, supposedly, and I think kids were drinking a lot. And so they said, they put some money into that movement against alcohol. And so they said, if you want to use alcohol for fuel, in order to make it, you have to mix it with oil so that people don't drink it. And so, but I'm sure you probably know all this shit, but just in case anybody doesn't. I just feel like it's important, man. I feel like they should teach us in fucking school.
But they're never gonna teach us this shit.
Because he owns the schools. They own the schools.
And he's the type of person that will stay incognito. He doesn't want his name spoken out.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got a fucking rap label. There's a rap label, Rockefeller. He has the Rockefeller Plaza. All that shit was for PR.
He's one of those type of guys that he wants his name out there, but he will not put himself out there in a bad light.
In a bad light, no, for sure. Nobody wants to.
Yeah, he will keep his name as squeaky clean as he can. He'll try to make it seem like a lot.
Try to erase some shit.
Yeah,
but you can't erase. At least not. Right now, I mean, it's public knowledge. It should. I mean, it's not a secret. A lot of this shit, it shouldn't be. I mean, because it's out there.
But they're gonna try to suppress it as much as they can and quickly as they can. That's why you gotta be, to me, you have to be careful on when you speak on them.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm gonna have a big influence on his productivity or in his capital. I don't see myself being that big of a deal, to be honest. But that'd be a cool way to die. in case I go.
You already talking about speaking shit into existence. You already talking about this.
You right, bro. And I just saw like a hawk fly by, so I'm gonna stop talking about this shit because that might be a sign. I don't know. I believe in certain things, bro. I believe in certain signs sometimes.
Hey, didn't you have a dream about an ape?
I had a dream about a gorilla yesterday, and before that, I've had dreams about lions.
You ever look up what that meant?
Yeah. He was a peaceful ape. A gorilla.
I bet that tripped you the hell out too.
Yeah, bro. Like in the dream, I was asking my sister. I was like, should we? Because it was nighttime and he was sleeping. I was like, should we call animal control, like the city? And she was like, nah. She was like all nonchalant about it, and I was like, oh, all right. Like I was nervous about it, but I don't know. He didn't do shit to us. It was pretty weird.
He's just chilling out there, watching over you. That's pretty dope, though, man. You got to me, that's spirit animals coming to visit you.
And then one time I just assumed it was because we have cats back there and different cats come. But one time I had it was like lions. They were like big ass like predator cat, but they were like pretty peaceful and shit.
I feel you.
Yeah, but you still feel the heightened awareness, like, oh shit, I don't want to piss them off or anything. You know what I mean? Like the respect, but they weren't like chasing me and they weren't doing anything like that. I read a little bit, and I think if they're chasing you, if they bite you, animals attack you, to be aware of some possible negativity that could be coming towards you. You know what I mean? Or you watch Animal Discovery Channel or some bullshit right before you went to bed. You know, so it just depends. You know, it's on how you perceive it. But I believe that sometimes dreams do talk to us in certain ways.
I feel you.
And animals.
It's always a projection of either future events or what you've already experienced in your life. So, I mean, it could be, God trying to speak to you in a certain way.
The universe.
Yeah, the universe, God, whomever you believe.
So you ever have deja vu? Do you ever feel that? Like I
always have this.
You always have deja vu?
Every now and then I'll feel it.
Like oh, this shit happened before.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you had a dream about it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that a lot, and I don't know if that's like the timelines touching or something, because sometimes there's that, right? There's deja vu. So I think that might be like, because I'm imagining like a physical wavy timeline in the fourth dimension or some shit, and sometimes our sleep pattern, our dream, sometimes in our dream we touch like another. Do you believe that there's like different, like infinite dimensions and shit, like other versions of us?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, you would believe this, but if I told certain people that I have seen these timelines and I have gone back in time, people will look at me like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Was psilocybin?
Yeah, I was on some psilocybin.
Oh, I need another trip.
This was... I remember this trip too, man. It was before my birthday. I think it was the summer of 2015. I think is what it was. This is where me and Vino had spent. This was my second trip. The first trip I ever did by myself. I had just completed my weight loss journey. When I completed it, I was still on it, but I was making a lot of good progress, just doing it.
How much weight did you lose?
I went from weighing 236 pounds to going to 150.
Damn.
In the span of about 4 or 5 months.
Congratulations, man. And you kept this shit off for years.
You're trying to say, motherfucker, I still have it off. Nah.
No, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. You can make it fat again. Nah, just kidding.
I just fucking with you.
Yeah.
Nah, but after I had done all that, it was because of the first trip I had, which we'll talk about that on another episode. That's another fucking spiritual trip that I went on. But on this one, it was the first time I did it by myself, and I had went to bed. I ate them. I closed my eyes. I may have drifted off to sleep for maybe about like 2 minutes, but then eventually I like stopped my dream all of a sudden. And I started walking in my mind, and then all of a sudden I'm feeling like, wait a minute, where the fuck am I going? You know, I started looking around, and then out of nowhere, something was talking to me. I didn't know what the fuck it was. So I kept on walking, and it's just blankness. And then I see this door, and it's just a random ass door, blackness all around me. So I walk to it, and I open it, and now I walk out, and it's nighttime into a fucking forest. And so I am just lost in this fucking forest. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And when I walk out of it, and the door, and I look behind me, the door disappears. This is when I fucking knew it. I'm like, I'm not home anymore. I'm somewhere else. Like, these mushrooms fucking hit.
How many did you take? You know?
I took maybe about 2
G's.
2 G's that night.
Damn.
Ate them both at once. Thank you, fuck.
I think you're like hypersensitive to it. I think I dulled my senses because of my years of like abuse of different types of chemicals and stuff.
I feel you, but in this one, I mentally prepared myself before I went. Like, me and Vino had discussed this, how I would depart, how I would get ready to go, and whatnot. And how I did it was I went to sleep and just meditated before I went. And that's when it was like I said, it was a minute where I felt like I drifted off to sleep, and I was dreaming for a little bit, just about some random shit in my life, and then I know it just went black, and I found that door, and I started walking through it. And
so maybe you were still dreaming at this time?
No, I wasn't. I was not dreaming. I was
very awake.
I felt like I was not
physically moving around the house. It's like you were in the quantum realm or something.
My body was at my house in my bed. Mm-hmm. I was in another dimension somewhere.
Yeah.
The
astral plane or something.
Something like that. But you know what? Okay, let me finish this story.
Go ahead.
So I'm walking through this forest, and eventually I reach this edge. Because these voices in my head are telling me, keep walking, you're almost there. And I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? It's dark, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong. It's fucking beautiful.
I was going to hit that over there.
Don't get me wrong, it is just gorgeous. Like, you know, anytime you see just all the stars. So I keep walking. And eventually, I run in, not into the ledge, but I run into this random guru. And I'm talking to him. So I'm like, who are you? And he was just like, oh, I'm you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're me. And he's like, well, I'm projecting myself through you, but in a projection in which you would believe me that I'm you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So after about maybe 5 minutes of him explaining this, and the way he explained it was that like, well, I'm your subconscious, but if I showed me as yourself, you wouldn't believe anything I told you. But I am you just being spoken through with the angels. And I'm like, all right, we'll go with it, you know? And so I was like, so can I project you as, let's say, Matthew McConaughey? Because I believe anything that fool would tell me. I don't know why Matthew McConaughey, but...
All right.
Basically. So he starts walking me. He's like, all right, well, I'm taking you to your spirit animal. And I'm taking you somewhere where, you know, you're going to meet him. And I'm like, all right. You know, so he's talking to me. You know, we're walking. We're still in this fucking forest. I don't know where the fuck he's taking me to.
So it's Matthew McConaughey.
Walking me through the forest. And he takes me to this cage. This fucking blue tiger. Or actually a lion. Yeah, it was a lion. It was a blue lion. So I'm looking at this fucking thing like, who is this? He's like, well, this is your spirit animal. I was like, what? My spirit? What? And he's like, yes, this is your spirit animal. I was like, now, go in there. I'm like, all right. So he opens his cage up, and this lion is just sitting there, staring at me, looking at me.
Is it a male lion or a female?
This is a male lion.
With a mane?
With the mane and all. And so without any hesitation, Matthew McConaughey kicks my ass in there and shuts the damn door behind me. And I couldn't open it. This lion gets up and starts looking at me. He's like, so you're my human. I'm like, I'm not a human. I'm a person. So we kind of went back and forth saying like, no, you're just a human to me. You're just here. I'm like, so we kind of go back and forth. We kind of in a way, I met my ego in a sense of how hard-headedness I could feel for myself. And so we were talking, and as we're talking, I'm discovering more about myself. And I discover more that I'm hard-headed, that I am very fiery, and that if I don't control that fire, things can go bad. Because I was eventually about to piss off this lion where he's about to fucking eat me. I was being a snarky little asshole.
You're arguing with him.
I was arguing with him. I was arguing back and forth with him. And then that's when I realized, I was like, so what are you going to do? You going to eat me? You going to let me go? What the fuck are you going to do? If he got a little bit pissy with this, like, you don't realize it, do you? I was like, I do realize everything. You're me. You're everything that I could be, but you're projecting something that's different. Why? If you're my spirit animal, you're supposed to be everything that I should be and everything I want to be. He's like, exactly, that's who I am. I wanted you to see that. This is about a good 20, I felt like it was a good almost hour argument. And he kind of laid it out to me that, yeah, you know, you haven't been a good homie to your homie, you know, Carlos. You haven't been doing this right. Yeah, you've lost your way. Yeah, you've done this. But if you keep on with this little ego that you have, you won't become what you want to be, which is me. You know, and that was a full lion with this full mane. And
well,
basically,
blue, white in his blue.
Basically, that's my favorite color.
It's like Dr. Manhattan type shit.
Pretty much. But in a way, he was projecting himself to me as like a full lion is a representation of like a leader of a pack. The full mane is the leader of the pride, and that's what eventually where I wanted to become in my own family.
It's a very powerful symbol, an animal.
And so,
badass animal, bro.
When we finally calm down, he sits with me, and you know we start talking peacefully. He's like, you know, I start crying. Because he was right. I was being an asshole. I wasn't being very nice. I wasn't being a very good homie. And for everything that Carlos has done for me, yeah, at that time, I wasn't very appreciative of it. So I sent him this long-ass... I woke up because he allowed me to. And apparently, somehow, in some way, I sent Vino this long-ass text. Vino can testify to it. Apparently, and then I went back in. I don't remember this. But that text was sent to Carlos. To tell him how much I do appreciate, you know, his friendship and whatnot. That's before I met you too. So after me and the lion, we gained peace with each other. He told me, you have to learn to control the fire that you have within you, because you have within you the heart of a lion, which is a heart that will always listen to his friends, always be there for him. And even if it's not just your friends, your people, your followers, the people that are around you, you know, when they come and ask for help, you as the leader of the pack, when you finally become the pack, or the pride, the pride of the pack.
They call it a pride, right?
Yeah.
Because lions are a pride, wolves are a pack.
The pride of the den, of the lion's den. That's what you have to develop. You have to be able to listen to people and not to just give them advice, but just to listen to them and talk to them, and then, you know, be that light to them. You know, and we went to deep talks about other things too that are very personal that I'm not going to share on here. You know, that's between me and him. And we still talk to this day. Every time I have a dream, you know, sometimes we'll project each other and seek out.
Guru.
Yeah.
Your reflection.
So I got on him. He was like, all right, get on me. I'm like, so I got on him.
Like a piggyback ride?
Yeah, like I rode this motherfucker, bro. I rode a lion. It was fucking cool, bro.
Oh, the lion.
Yeah.
The lion. You talking about you talk to the lion sometimes in the dream. I was thinking, like, the guru's gone now, right? Like,
he's gone. He's dipped out.
And disappeared or some shit.
Well, he didn't dip off, but this lion, I got on him. He was like, this is, you know, and like, get on me. I got to take you up to another stop. I'm like,
should I Steven Universe? Nah. He has a pink lion, though.
It's something like that.
It was bigger. Better, though.
But it was bigger.
Sounds cooler.
I actually have a picture of it on my wall. Vino has actually found a picture of it, and I have it hung up on my wall, which is a good representation of what I saw. It's fucking cool, bro. I had to take a picture of it and send it to you.
That's what's up.
But I wrote this line. I asked him, you know, where are you taking me? He's running through the forest. He's like, I'm taking you to another, my sensei, basically my celestial leader. So I'm like, all right, let's go. So we ride to the cliff, and guess who's standing by that fucking cliff?
Who?
Matthew fucking McConaughey.
All right, Matthew McConaughey, the good.
And he turns around and he's like, so you're done. I see you tamed your own wild beast inside of you. I'm like, yeah, we're pretty cool. We all right.
Which Matthew McConaughey is he? Is it a particular Matthew McConaughey from a particular
The one
movie?
from Interstellar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Dazed and Confused Matthew McConaughey
Nah,
in my head.
that's young Matthew McConaughey. It's more mature Matthew McConaughey.
He knows some shit.
Yeah.
He's been through some shit.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he's just like, yeah, he told me that. And so I said, all right, you ready to meet your other being? I can't remember what the name was. It's been so many years. But it was basically a Shinra that came up out of nowhere. It's a fucking huge ass blue mythical fucking dragon. It was just majestic. Imagine what Shinra would look like, but not as intimidating. And not with the little wooden thing.
Shinra
Man, you don't know who Shinra is? Okay, well, Shinra is a big ass dragon.
I'm gonna look it up, but continue.
But it was a long dragon, and it had white, like a white beard, like almost like Gandalf.
Okay.
But it flowed majestically, and it was as long as its own body.
Dragon Ball Z dragon.
Yeah.
I didn't know his name was Shinra. Okay.
But think of him as not with green scales, but with blue scales, and not with red eyes, but with piercing blue eyes.
Okay.
That matched his own skin color. So the bottom belly of him was white, and it shaded up more of a white to a sky blue to almost like a regular look, like the blue you have on your.
And is that blue similar to the lion blue?
The lion was a little bit more darker. His was more royal blue.
Royal blue.
This Shinra was more like a lighter blue.
Okay.
And so he looks at me so intensely. He's like, "So this is the one you've just been speaking of all this time." And the lion was like, "Yeah, this is my partner." He didn't call me human anymore. He called me his spiritual partner.
Sounds kind of gay.
Spiritual being, whatever you want to call it. So he was like, "Huh? And how much does he know? Is he really ready for this journey?" And the lion backed me. Matthew backed me. And he was like, I'm not asking them.
All right.
I'm asking you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to see whatever information you're going to give me. I'm ready to take in whatever you're going to give me. I didn't ask. I just told him, I said, whatever you give me, I'm ready for it. Whatever you feel as though I'm ready to see, I'm ready to see.
Right.
So he's like, all right. So he's like, get on. So I got on the back of his head like, how Goku does on his shit. And he took me out of the earth, away from everywhere, and he took me into a black hole. And this black hole, he kind of surrounded himself around me, and I felt this energy around me. He's like, pick any time on Earth. Pick any time that you want to go to, and I'll take you to it to explain anything that you want. Because he knew I was a history nut. So I said, take me to the beginning. Take me to where it all started. So he took me there. And it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I saw communities working together. I saw people, talking in different languages, being around each other, no wars that I could see. Maybe little disputes, fights, but nothing that was in the extent of war where you saw massive death or anything like that. You really saw people kind of talking out and being there for each other, working things out, being a community, And I'm looking at all of this, and I asked this dragon, I said, hey, where are we? He's like, this is the beginning of time. This is where, this is what I created. This is what I made on the part of the earth. And I'm like, okay, that's what's up. It's like, you basically are God. He's like, no, I'm not God. I am just a being that created what God wanted me to create. Everything you see in this universe, I have created. Everything is in line and in sync with each other from my creation. And then, as he's telling me this, I believe everything he's telling me. He showed me the process of what he did. And so he took me back, and I asked him, I said, so take me back and show me how you did it. So he showed me where he kind of, as a young dragon, this was before he made his mustache. This is why he has his mustache, because all the things that he was creating around the universe, he created. He basically made it.
Okay, but you're imagining this being, like let's say all this is real, for instance, possible. Let's say that this being, this is just how he's portraying himself to you because that's what you'll. It's easy for you to accept. You think because you like Dragon Ball Z, or you think that maybe the creator of Dragon Ball Z did some psychedelic.
I
Had the
think
same kind of visual trick.
what it was doing was it was using the knowledge that it knew that I would believe to get the information. Yeah, that I would be able to get the information from much easier instead of me being like, this is some bullshit. It's more like, no, let me show you in your version of it, but what the truth would be. And it's not like I would predict any of this shit. I never thought at being at the age of 20, I didn't think I would have any of these thoughts of how the Earth was. I always thought it was fucking like war and people were always just hated each other. You know, there's always problems and shit like that. You know,
it's kind of how they want us to think, right?
Yeah, and it showed me a different version of it. And when I saw this, and then he showed me the creation of everything. And I'll show you how this all links up because this all made me really rethink this again, to really think that this dream was something more. But after he took me here, I was like, okay, you created all this, but why is there so much evil now? Why is there so many things? And he told me the story, and I get what he meant with it. And he went, well, there was a time where I had my own ego. I had got so full of myself. I got so prideful of myself. And I was like, look at what I've created. I've created all this, but I forgot the one person that gave me everything. I didn't own any of this. The person who gave me this power is the reason I'm able to create all this. But at this time, I had this ego to where, I created all this. I kept it in check. Yeah, this is all me. This is me. This is where he created certain people on this earth. And he unintentionally created it because he's like, do you see these scales that are on me? I'm like, yeah. It's like, well, if I don't take certain scales of these off and basically destroy them, they will create something on these planets that, well, I don't want.
Like demons.
Man. In a way. So I asked him, I was like, well, show me where everything went wrong. So he showed me. He says, in this day, and I forgot what day, but he told me on this day, it finally happened. I didn't check this one scale and it fell. Well, it just so happened that this trajectory where it fell was on the earth. And he showed me that it hit the earth, a great flood happened, everything was almost destroyed, but human civilization is very strong, it survived. But there was these creatures that came with it. And I watched what these creatures did, and it basically led to where we're at now.
Can I say something?
What?
So that almost seems like it coincides with with the way that Christians try to analyze and try to make it more understandable. Is that how, like, they say, okay, the demons were kicked out of heaven. Okay, so maybe that's the scale falling to the earth. And then it said that the demons who were kicked out of heaven started having intercourse with the women, and their children were giants. They produced giants. And you're saying that, and they also supposedly, there's a theory that they're the ones who created swords and created war and created this and created that and showed man how to do these certain things. And that could be similar to what you're saying, that these parasites or whatever wasn't the scales.
What I had saw too, because again, I was watching from above the earth, watching all this happen, like in a bird's eye view. And I asked him, I said, show me these beings. I want to see who these beings look like. And he was like, if you see them, you'll never be able to unsee them. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And he showed me this serpent-like being. He took a scale off of himself and he threw it. And he showed me, he caged it, but he showed me exactly what it looked like. And it was a serpent being. It was fucking just disgusting. It was just a snake, serpent, cobra-looking being with arms. And it just had piercing red eyes that just had the intent of wanting to kill you. Just by the sight of me, just looking at me, just by seeing, I guess, what he saw, the light within me, he wanted to extinguish it. And so he destroyed it. He's like, I let this happen because of my own ego that I didn't check, my own pride I didn't check. And because of that, it infected man on this planet. And now it will lead to its own downfall. ego, pride, things, blind
Jealousy.
things that blind the man's view of what the world should be like, because they want to project it in their own view, just like how he wanted to do with the universe. Instead of going by what God's plan was, or whoever his higher ups were, he went on his own path because he thought, nah, this is mine. Instead of what? No, we've made you so you can create this in a connected way where everything runs in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked him, I was like, so well, how do I help you fight these beings? There's got to be a way I can help you. And he's like, no, I would prefer you don't. You don't have the spiritual power to do it. The only thing I ask you to do is spread the knowledge and spread the word of which I have given you. As in, be there for people, do the right thing, and, help God's creatures and their beings to see the light and grow the light even more to where I can be able to eliminate these people. I was like, this is my mess, not yours, Nick. This is what I created, and I must destroy it myself, but I cannot allow you to try to fight these beings because they are not beings in which you can fight. The only way you can help me is just to help others, to see the light and to shine theirs even brighter. So I understood. Basically, he kind of gave me a mission in a way, but he's like, it's time for me to take you back home. So he took me back to the cliff, and I'm like, will I ever see you again? He's like, in time, but, only you can decide that. And so he went off. My lion came back. He took me back to the door. And I said, will I ever see you again? He's like, oh, you will. I'll always be with you. In your heart and in your spirit, I will be there. Whenever you're in danger, whenever you need me, I'll be there. So I was like, all right. So I walked through the door. I woke the fuck up. And I was still tripping. I was in my own room. I'm like touching myself, grabbing myself, like making sure I was back to fucking earth. But I was still, tripping. But I remember what Vino had said is like, when that finally happens and you come back, drink some coffee to like pull you right back, like pull you back to level earth. So I did. I made some coffee. It was like 5 in the fucking morning. I took these shrooms like 8. Went to bed early. And so that whole night I was fucking tripping. And that was the ending of that journey. And as my life progressed, I took his word carefully. It's where I met you. It's where I met a lot of other cool people. And I eliminated people. Not got rid of them, but, I just...
eliminated.
They just left my life. They didn't want to be a part of it or anything. And that was cool with me. I was,
trim the fat.
Pretty much. And now I watch the Electric Universe. And it showed me the connectivity of how
the Electric Universe?
Yeah.
What is that?
The Electric Universe is a show that basically shows you how Nikola Tesla how he was able to pull energy out of nowhere, because that's basically where it's at. It's in thin air.
Right.
We're all a part of a grid, from what this show explains. They can explain it even better. It's on the Gaia.com.
Oh, yeah, GAIA.
Yeah. It's on that website. It's a very good show. I recommend anybody who's interested to learn about the universe and, maybe answer some questions on how the universe works and whatnot. That's a very good show to watch. It opened my mind up a lot, and it made me, recollect on that dream I had. So.
Isn't it crazy how, like, aren't we kind of electricity? Like, for the first time ever, I shocked, I shock people sometimes, when you get static electricity and shit. Like, when you touch me, like, I shocked a cat on accident one time. But the other day, I shocked my sister, and it actually, like, it felt like I burned my nail and shit.
Damn.
So it was like, I was like, holy shit. Like,
maybe you're starting to become Static Shock now.
Yeah! Who's that?
You never seen that show,
DC?
Static Shock?
Nah.
Yeah. I think it is DC. Well, it's Warner Brothers. Because it came out with W
DC.
Kids.
It's gotta be DC then.
He was supposed to be like a younger version of the Flash, like a newer version of him. But he was more electricity.
Right.
It's fucking dope, man. I wish they would have made more seasons of that show or made a comic of that motherfucker. They probably have.
Yeah, they have to.
But, man, I wish they did more with him, man, because he was a good character.
How many seasons do they have?
I would say maybe 2, maybe 1 or 2. They didn't have that many.
This is for this.
Okay.
Whenever you feel like it.
But
man, that's a very interesting trip you had.
And it affected me very big too in my life, because it opened more doors for me. as far as spiritually, because it may at that time I was kind of confused, especially after the first trip on was God really real or not? Was there another life after this or not? Because at the age of like maybe I want to say 17 and 19, I was more like maybe an atheist. I didn't really believe in God or anything. I wasn't very spiritual at all. I take the psilocybin. I take the psilocybin, and now I feel like I'm more in tune with God. I feel like I'm more. I follow. I want to follow what His word was, His true word was, what His true meaning to living this life is. And being 24 years old now, I understand what my purpose in this life is, from what I can tell is.
Man, bro, you're very blessed to know that now. Some people are so lost. Some people are lost their whole lives.
Yeah.
Some people never find it, and that's one sad thing about that particular plant, fungi, that it's crazy that it's banned.
And I would have to warn people too, man. Like I had how do I put it? You have to be ready to face yourself, in order for you to really want to get everything out of these things, out of the psilocybin.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of people I know that took it and they're just like, man, I didn't have that good of a trip, and I kind of question, did you really not have a good one, or did you not want to face what you needed to face? Were you too cowardly to face them?
Yeah, and see, for me, I feel like I always had a good time, but I didn't. I don't know if I ever I didn't have a trip like that, like how you had, but it was always very positive, very good times. Except for my first time, I was like 15. I mean, it was cool. It was dope as fuck. I was with these two white boys that I knew from school, and they gave me some shrooms, like a couple G's.
Yeah.
And it was my first time and shit. And it was in the summertime. And the first thing we did was before as I was digesting it, as it was hitting me, they had Dave Chappelle show on DVD.
Yeah.
Back when that shit was like super fire and shit. I mean, it's always been fire, right? Back when it was brand new. And it was just hilarious, bro. I just felt like, okay, this is just like weed, but an intense weed. And then we decided to go walking. Or no, we went outside to the side of the house. By this time, I had already experimented with other things, with the AO and alcohol and green. I think that's about it, maybe. Later on, I tried lean. I did one time I did Freon. I'm not proud of none of this shit, and I talk about it because I don't want the youngsters to do it. It's not worth it. I did that, so hopefully you ain't gotta go through that, like Jay-Z said one time. But anyway, so we went outside, we were chilling, we were listening to some tunes, and then I was looking at the wood fence, and wood just looks amazing, bro. When you look at wood, it's a trip, like the lines and the age and the whatever. But with the music, it started looking like rainbow, and it was moving, and it looked like, how Google Windows Media Player used to have an option where you put like the little, and it had like weird light show. It looked kind of like that.
And cool. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The Xbox used to have it too.
I never owned an Xbox, bro. I'm not a fucking queer.
Why is that queer?
Nah, it's an inline joke between PlayStation users and Xbox users. If you look at some of the memes, that they'll go back and
forth. I know that. I mean, I pick one of my favorite systems ever. Well, for sure, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, but the Sega Dreamcast, bro. I love the Sega Dreamcast.
Man, they should have made a second one. I heard a lot of good things about the Sega.
The Sega Dreamcast, bro, was the shit. It just came out the wrong time, or
it came out too late from what I
yeah, I guess so. I guess what it was, but it was really great. It was kind of loud. Like you hear go with the, but it didn't matter, bro. It was dope as fuck.
So the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Nah, even the PlayStation 2 did that too.
Okay. I mean, it's just part of the progress of technology.
Yeah.
I love Nintendo goes hard as hell though. I'm pretty
Can't hate on
happy. Like
Nintendo, man.
I'm pretty
Nintendo.
happy that they're successful with the Switch because the Wii U wasn't that successful.
Yeah, man. The Switch is like something different. I love it because it's like
It's portable, so people take it places.
no. Here's why I love it. I'm a gamer too, but my roommates, I'm gonna say roommates, you know, whatever, but they don't like him playing his games, you know, on their TVs or whatever, and I'm the only one that allows them to play it. Well, I like playing my games too, or I like watching my shows or doing whatever, or hooking up my laptop and putting it on my TV. Well,
Right.
What's great about the Switch is that he can take it off that little stand, not have it connected to the TV, and still play his games going everywhere and still chill next to me and be, you know, around me while I'm doing my own thing.
And this is not an advertisement, y'all. This is some real shit.
This is some real ass shit, bro. Like this is the most like useful thing I have ever
Bro,
had.
Nintendo is beautiful, dog. They're so. I mean, like the shit. Like you can tell that they probably took shrooms when they made some of these games, bro. Like just the first game, like he eats the magic. There's a mushroom that's red and white like that. That it makes you feel like you're growing taller, supposedly. Like in real life, if you
What
eat
the
it,
fuck?
you're just like growing. And that's what they based that one off of.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's weird, bro. The nature creates these things that our brains react to because there's like little locks.
Yeah.
There's like little keys, just like the THC and the CBD. We have little compartments that they fit into for a reason. I don't know, but it's weird, bro. We're like robots in a way, but not really.
We have the difference between, you know, robots and us is that we have free will. We think how we want. We're not programmed. We can.
Well, we're
programmed,
organic matter. I'm just thinking like, cause you know the way we heal.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that's crazy, bro. The way like if you get a gash and then it just like eventually heals, like we can't sit there and watch it, but it's probably doing some shit. Like if you sped it up, it probably look like some robot shit, some cybernetic, the anatomic, and then you know it's Wolverine shit.
Yeah. It's pretty weird when you see the X-rays of people that like either drink some water or eat. Like you see how, like, I mean, in the inside of your own body or in somebody else's own body, you see how it looks.
I never seen that.
You never seen it? Bro, look that shit up, bro. That shit
like as it's going through your body.
Yeah, man. It's fucking. It's weird to see, but it's fucking dope. Like it's crazy to see.
I thought you were gonna say how when bones break, you see the bones break and
Fuck
the
no, I
bones
don't want to
heal.
see that, bro.
No, but they heal. That's crazy too.
Yeah, but
In
I
and
don't
of
want to see
itself.
them happen. Fuck
No,
that.
yeah. I think it's not as gross when you see it as an X-ray than when you see it like a
live sporting event where you see somebody
like when it happens. And
oh
shit.
god, man, that's so horrible.
I know they used to put that stuff on MTV and stuff, and it was crazy. I used to watch it.
Man. I remember Jackass. I'm surprised they didn't fucking.
I think they're coming out with a new one.
Oh, they really?
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's see, water going. X-ray. I'm not sure which one to pick.
Let me see. This is not this one. Yeah, it's this one right here. My X-ray swallows.
Okay.
It's fucking weird on how it looks, bro. If you look at it, it's just.
Also, this guy's chewing
turn it
something.
down.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble for playing somebody else's video on YouTube.
Right. Okay, so he's chewing something. Ooh, whoa! And he just swallowed. That's weird looking.
Yeah, but that's how it looks when we're doing it, though. Like that's the inside on how we look.
Wow.
It's fucking weird, but it's dope as shit,
Okay,
bro.
now he's drinking something.
Yeah, look how weird it looks going down. Like it's
like we're robots and we're adding oil to our system and fuel.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
So weird.
Well, that's just how humans look.
The tongue is a weird little thing that.
Yeah.
What is the tongue? It's not even. It's a muscle, right? It's like
yeah,
a muscle.
I think it's an entire muscle.
And then we can control it like a finger, like. Oh snap! It's going down towards the lungs. The lungs trip me out.
Yeah, it's fucking weird on how it looks and how the human body really just works, dog.
It's quite miraculous.
And when some people, I mean, when doctors open up lungs, bro, if you open them, you see the way that the tubes are in the lungs. It
It's
looks like
like
a tree,
wires.
like wires or tree branches.
Or tree branches, yes. It looks
Looks
like
like a
tree
tree.
branches. It's like there was this book that they had at my school. It was about geometry, and it showed like, and it was like a little kid book, but it like some
Is it showing them
scientist,
talking?
like his vocal cords.
Yeah, I think it's showing his vocal cords moving.
Man,
It's dope.
it is. It also shows like how sensitive we are, though.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine like living when they were having swords and shit? And people just chop heads off, like.
Man, that time is just horrible.
It is, but it's kind of romantic in a way because you had to like
What
fight
do
for
you mean
the.
romantic?
I mean, it's different
Yeah,
than
weird
like
sense
bullets.
of romantic.
Yeah, you're right. I just mean like I'd rather watch Vikings fight, and it's probably all like it's choreographed, so it makes it look more fun than it really probably was. But when you read the books about it, they're like, yeah, they were shitting themselves, they're pissing themselves, because war is not like a natural fucking thing for nobody. They were scared of shit, but they're fighting for their life or whatever.
Well,
it's probably more horrible because then you had like you couldn't just heal. Like a bullet can just take you out like real quick, but if you get like an arm cut off or you fucking suffering.
You gotta just be missing an arm, be alright.
Yeah.
You be one arm Joe.
Yeah. Shit, in the Civil War, they had to chop that shit off with a saw.
Man, I've read memoirs and stories about that shit. It's fucking sad. Like there was no such thing as anesthesia at that time.
Whiskey.
That was it.
Whiskey.
They either had whiskey, vodka, or some type of alcohol to fucking make you forget and try to numb the pain as much as they could, which you fucking didn't.
Sometimes you just pass out from the pain. Like
that's basically what they were hoping for. Is that
you chop off a leg or something.
You wouldn't remember the operation, and you would pass out, but you're still gonna be alive.
And it's gonna hurt like a motherfucker.
Oh, it's gonna hurt like hell, brother. Like I said, there's no anesthesia, and you're gonna lose that leg, bro. That's it.
They had morphine. And so, if you had money for
I don't think they had.
Probably not in the war.
I don't think they had morphine at that time.
I think after the war they had.
I think morphine wasn't developed until maybe World War One.
Well, no, because you never watch Hell on Wheels, right?
No.
But the guy who owned the railroad, he was dripping some kind of opium or something. I don't know if it was morphine, some kind of a form of opium.
See, and that's the thing. Even with it, they probably would.
He was rich. Enough. He was rich.
Even with it, I don't think they would have had enough around anyways, because there were so many injured and so many operations that some guys just died in those hospital beds even after their surgery.
Oh yeah,
and
because infection.
There's
no antibiotics.
Gangrene, all types of different diseases. Like lead poisoning later on in life. There were probably a lot of Confederate and Union soldiers who probably either got shot, they were able to sew it up and stop the bleeding, but they probably left a bullet in you because they couldn't get it. And you died later on in life with lead poisoning. So a lot of those soldiers that went into those tents, probably about a good 50% of them didn't make it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that says a lot about that war.
That was a nasty war, and the way that what was that prison we had in the South that we treated people like shit? Oh man, I haven't read up on the Civil War in a minute.
I've read up 2 different views on it.
Oh, on what kind of like one soldier from each side?
No, I've read the actual history side of it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm reading another one about the Confederate monuments that is explaining why we should keep these monuments.
But didn't they make those like way later, like in the early 1900s?
They did. And it was actually a lot of them were made in the North.
Right. Were they?
Yeah, a lot of them.
For what?
The book will tell you that it is because propaganda, that they wanted to make it seem like that they respected these Confederate soldiers. But it happened later on to try to show respect to these Confederate soldiers, that, yeah, they were prideful and they fought for the right thing. And then it went on
saying that in the North they said that.
The Northerners made Confederate statues.
Well, at first, just to make it seem like they were being anti-American or something.
At first, because you got to think about it in the war, why would the Northerners want to ever even make a monument over slave owners and people who were rebels and this and that.
Right. Unless they're trying to do some propaganda or some bullshit.
Well, you could see that it was propaganda because of how they viewed the Southerners at this time. So a lot of what's written about them, between the time of 1865 to about 1898, those views on the South might be a lot skewed than what they show.
Because of who history's written. History's written by the winner.
Yes. And then when this book talks about that they made a lot of the monuments around, like you said, in the early 1900s, it shows a lot that, well, why would they make them anyway? If they have already condemned these people of doing heinous things and heinous crimes, why are there monuments in the North? Period. And why would they allow a lot of the South to build monuments?
For real. And then put them up.
Exactly.
And then now they're taking them down. Most of them
shouldn't.
Right? You're saying they shouldn't? Why?
Well, it's in honor of American soldiers. Those were American soldiers.
So we should have some northern statues too. I'm sure we do, right?
Oh yeah, of course. There should be honor on both sides.
Yeah.
And how people should view the South, I mean, regardless of what history is saying right now.
Well, that's the cool thing about Hell on Wheels. They show the perspective of a Southern soldier. He just did it. They didn't do it for the reason that a lot of those soldiers didn't do it for the reason that the textbooks say that they did it for.
Yeah, in a way, the book. I mean, at the end of the day, slavery is slavery. It doesn't matter how you view it, how you word it, how anything. This problem with slavery should have never happened to begin with.
Right.
It should have never even been a fucking idea
right.
at all. But the South knew that, well, we were in it, and, well, if we're not treating it... In some of the books that he's saying, and some of the history books that he's written, he's writing about, and what he's explaining to me about, is... And I wish I had the book to explain it. Maybe next episode I'll tell you the author of the book, or I'll write it in the description, because I can't even remember. But this author basically was trying to word it as they wanted to free these slaves, but they couldn't free these slaves because there wasn't enough money in the reserve, as in their bank, to pay for everybody. Not reparations, but to be able to make sure they're good.
Mm-hmm.
So what they were kind of asking a lot of the slave owners was, hey, pay them a little bit, treat them better until we get enough revenue to where we can kind of do this. Not just say, you're all free, but you have no jobs and you have no housing. And
good luck.
Yeah, basically saying, yeah, good fucking luck. They kind of knew, like, okay, we need to keep it this way until we can kind of figure this shit out.
Okay.
A lot of what he's saying was that the story, a lot of what Mark Twain said about the South, and a lot of these Southern writers that, quote unquote, lived in the South during the war, really didn't live in the South during the war. They actually moved to Connecticut, Massachusetts, and a lot of the northern states, and then came back around 1878, 1879.
Well, after the war or some shit?
Mm-hmm. And after a lot of the post-war shit that was going on, there was a lot of violence after the war. Not against black people or whatever, but a lot of rebels didn't want to give up.
Yeah.
Because they knew what was up.
Yeah. So why, okay, so can you say in layman terms why this war was fought?
When people say that it's not about states' rights, it was about slavery. No, it was about states' rights. It was about the rights to do, not as you please and what you wanted to do, but at this time, the North kind of wanted to take over the South and take over a lot of what they were wanting, which was they wanted a Federal Reserve. The South saw past that shit and they were like, we don't want that.
That seems like that echoes throughout the world, because I saw a little post that said that Iran's one of the last places that doesn't have a Rothschild.
And another thing that was going on was the Industrial Revolution that was going on as well. And the North and the South wasn't willing to do that. It would industrialize, but it wasn't willing to do all what they were doing, urbanize. They liked the Southern way of life was very loved by a lot of people.
Still is.
I mean,
hospitality, baby.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There are probably a few slave owners that were pieces of shit and did treat their slaves like they were pieces of shit.
For sure.
But you also have to understand that just how there's a 1% now, there was also probably a fucking 1% at that time as well.
It's probably always been.
A lot of plantations at this time in the South. I mean, you have to understand. A lot of them had maybe 1 to 5 slaves, if that, to tend to their crops. A lot of them had to tend with them. So a lot of them treated, and I'm not condoning slavery. But a lot of them probably either paid them for their freedom or treated them right, gave them a place to live, let them do what they wanted, and fed them. Gave them a way of life in a way. Of course, they bought them, but maybe they saved them from being treated even worse to certain even households that were pieces of shit.
Right.
Again, I'm not condoning slavery, and I could be completely wrong, and I'll eat my words completely, but that's the touchy subject about it, and that's what sucks about this.
Yeah, but that's what makes it interesting.
But
and that's why it's cool to be that we should be able to talk about it and theorize and debate. And nobody should get like.
But the South, from what he's saying, really did have a plan to free these slaves, to free everybody. But they wanted to make sure that when they did it, there wasn't going to be this housing crisis or this problem that insisted on when after the war happened, when everybody was back in a unified America, that they kind of just, all right, well, everybody's free now, but not really until maybe like when the 13th Amendment was passed, and then you had to have the 14th and 15th Amendment fucking passed, not even, 10, 15 years later. My question with that is, why did we have to pass the 4th and 15th Amendments in the first place?
What's the 14th?
It basically gave them the right to vote and the right to do other shit too. And I think the 15th Amendment gave them the right to, we can look it up. But I think it said it had a right to...
Well, when they freed the slaves, they also said unless you're a prisoner. And that's why prison labor is a thing right now in America.
It could have been.
No, I'm pretty sure, bro, in the 13th it said, let's see. That's how good Americans we are. We don't know all of our amendments.
That's a bad thing.
I know. So the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are collectively known as the Civil War Amendments, designed to ensure equality for recently emancipated slaves.
What were the years that they were ratified?
I don't know, but let me read this. The 13th Amendment bans slavery and all involuntary solitude, except in the case of punishment for crime. So slavery is illegal except for criminals, which can legally be slaves, technically. What was your question?
Now go with the 14th Amendment and 15th.
Okay, let's see. 14th.
And then we'll look at when they were ratified.
The 14th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified on July 9th, 1868, and granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, which included former slaves recently freed. June 13th, 1866, the House of Representatives passed the 14th Amendment by a vote of 120 to 32. And then the 15th, let's see. I wonder if they had to teach us this in high school, right?
They probably did. We probably didn't pay attention.
We're all looking at girls' booties. Trying to get them cooties. The 15th Amendment granting African American men the right to vote was adopted into the U.S. Constitution in 1870. Despite the amendment, by the late 1870s, discriminatory practices were used to prevent blacks from exercising their right to vote, especially in the South. It wasn't until the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that the legal barriers were outlawed at the state and local levels if they denied African Americans their right to vote under the 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment states, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged to the United States by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude." But then right after they did that, it was Reconstruction. And then they had like the black codes, right? Or it was like the Jim Crow or some shit like that. And I learned all about that last semester, man. I'm pretty bad about. It's hard because when you're going to school, you're trying to memorize all this motherfucking information. But
yeah.
Still a little bit left in there.
To sum up what that book really was, it wasn't to really condone how the war went, who what. I mean, both sides it was just bad either way.
War is not a great thing.
The one thing I will say about it is look up the trial to Jefferson Davis. And when you look up this trial, and I even looked it up, and it was fucking nuts, was that for the leader of the Confederacy, he should have gone to jail for what it. They apparently, if there were war crimes that they said happened,
right,
and they had, done what they did, that they said that this war was illegal, that the South should have never rebelled, and they had no right to secede, and this and that. Jefferson Davis should have gone to jail for treason and causing the uprising.
He didn't.
He never did. And here's the crazy thing. When he was arrested, he wanted to be arrested. And when he went to jail, he wanted to go to trial. He was like, no, I want this to go to trial, and I want to represent myself.
Okay.
Because he knew within the statutes of the Constitution of what he did was not illegal. In fact, what the South did was within the 10th Amendment, which is states' rights. The states have the right to govern themselves.
Interesting.
So
what happened to him?
Well, he actually spent a whole year in jail. But the only reason he spent the year in jail, and this is why they confuse a lot of people, is that, well, he went to jail. Well, he went to jail because he was arrested for what the charges they had for him.
Taxes. No, they can't. That's what they do nowadays to try to get.
No, they charged him with what they had. But they could never. But what he wanted was he never took a plea deal. He wanted to go to trial. He wanted a trial for what they were accusing him of.
They give him a trial.
And no fucking attorney would take this case. Not one in the United States, because they all knew this was an illegal war. Now, one attorney would take this case. So for a year later, they dropped the charges and they let him go. There was no charges pressed on Jefferson Davis at all. There was nothing that tried on him.
Man, Jefferson Davis.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy to hear. I mean, it was crazy to read that story about Jefferson Davis.
His middle name is Finnan. It's a weird name. Finnan. Man. Member of the Democratic Party who represented Mississippi.
Isn't that crazy? He's part of the Democratic Party.
And that's weird, too, how the Democrats and the Republicans kind of flipped.
Supposedly. It happened in 1898.
1898? Why?
Flip. I don't know. Well, that's a story for another day now, isn't it?
I don't know.
We're going on a tangent.
How long have we...
Oh, I didn't even check.
We don't want to make people's ears bleed.
Oh, man, we've been going for an hour and a half.
111, 112. Should we call it a wrap?
We could.
You got anything?
But what'd you look up on Jefferson Davis, though? We'll finish on that.
Okay. Let me see. I'll start looking up 1898 and shit. We'll say that one for next time. Let's see. Jefferson Davis became a rap musician, battle rap star. He previously served as the United States Secretary of War under President Franklin Pierce. That's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm on the Wikipedia.
Look up his trial.
Oh, yeah.
Jefferson Davis trial.
A lot of times I'm a bad Googler, man. Davis trial. Especially after one or two. December 3rd, 1868. During his treason trial, former Confederate President Jefferson Davis claims that should he be found guilty, the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution would punish him a second time by restricting his citizen rights. Jefferson Davis thus ending the case. That didn't.
Is that what they gave you?
Yeah, but it had like ... so it didn't really give me a complete. Davis was taken into custody as a suspect in the assassination of the U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, but his arrest and 2-year imprisonment at Fort Monroe in Virginia raised significant questions about the political course of Reconstruction. Debate over Davis's fate tended to divide between those who favored a severe punishment of the former Confederate political leaders and those who favored a more conciliatory approach. Now, remember, this is just a website, Encyclopedia of Virginia, so I mean, who knows it? And I don't know if it's talking about the same time. When investigators failed to establish a link between Davis and Lincoln assassins, the U.S. government charged him instead with treason. U.S. President Andrew Johnson's impeachment hearings delayed the trial. However, in the end, the government granted Davis amnesty.
You see?
Yeah, that's all kinds of fucking.
Isn't that fucking weird?
Yeah.
That he was charged. First off, he was charged with an assassination attempt, which
Yeah.
he had no
ties to.
No ties to at all.
Yeah.
Which
that
even
they
then,
could find.
even then, that's even fucking like a bigger goose egg than anything else. And I haven't read into it, so I might do that in the future. But
the assassination of Lincoln.
Yeah, to see what John Wilkes Booth, who he really was, who he was working for.
Did you ever see all those little connections they had between Lincoln and Kennedy? Like all those little like Lincoln.
Oh yeah,
had a secretary named Kennedy.
Yeah,
and then Kennedy had a secretary had a last name Lincoln or some bullshit. I don't know how true that is. That'd be hilarious if it was, or weird as fuck, bro. I don't know, man.
But I mean, that it shows you the question marks that all around that trial. It's like, well, you charge him with assassination, you can get him on that because you couldn't find a link to him. So then you charge him with treason, and because of an impeachment, now you can't charge. No, you could still charge him and keep him in jail, but they were like, no, we can't, because they knew what they did was illegal. Because states could secede, states could do as what they pleased. And again, with the free bank and whatnot, that probably played a big role in what all happened as well. I mean, you just got to read up on what happened and start not picking and choosing what history you listen to, but start, making your own opinions on it.
Yeah, and that's good. Always keep an open mind and understand that. Take everything with a grain of salt, even with what we say. It's not the end all. Nobody knows 100%.
We'll never know 100% what the fuck happened because it probably got destroyed anyways.
Exactly.
But, yeah, we should end it there. We'll explain the 1898 case next time.
Yeah. All right, man. This was fun, like always. Wedding cake. Good times, good tunes, good vibes, good topics. Peace out to everybody out there. Hope you have a blessed week. One love.
Peace.